How the Good Dream Angels Came to Be, a children's bedtime story by Cheryl Rain Carter. This audio story is being read by the author. A long time ago, in the faraway cloud city of Astoria, lived a small sprite named Surreal. She was in training with the Sandman. Her dream was to become one of the bedtime angels, whose job is to go around the earth and help children have good dreams. She wanted this more than anything in the world, but she was having trouble with her lessons. Her teacher, Mr. Sandman, told her parents that if she didn't get her grades up, she would never become a bedtime angel. Surreal, being the bright child that she is, went to the Great Hall of Records and looked through every book she could find about sleep angels. But all she could find were books about Mr. Sandman. This was very disappointing to her. She felt lost and defeated. Surreal was afraid she would never earn her glitter wings. When she felt this way, she always went to her grandfather's house. Her granddad Time always knew how to cheer her up. While she was crossing the yard, the clock tower rang out 8 times. Surreal knew this was the time when all the boys and girls in the world needed the bedtime angels. She caught a glimpse of them flying overhead and decided to follow them. She stayed far enough behind so no one could see her. She watched in awe as the bedtime angels did their work. They went from house to house, leaving their no nightmare symbol on the child's pillow, kissed the child on the forehead, and then moved to the next house. Surreal noticed that the bedtime angels left glitter wherever they had been. She thought that was the most beautiful sight she had ever seen. Oh, how she wanted her own glitter wings. Surreal was so absorbed in her own thoughts that she almost didn't hear the muffled cries coming from the window above her. When she realized what the noise was, she went to see who was crying. Surreal remembered what Mr. Sandman had told them was the first rule: never let the children see you. As she peered through the window, she could see a small boy. He was moving around and kicking in his bed. It seems the bedtime angels had not made it to his room in time, and he was already having a nightmare. Surreal remembered the second rule Mr. Sandman had taught her class. Bedtime angels cannot stop a nightmare once it has started. The more she stood there listening to the boy cry and whimper while fighting his covers, she knew she had to do something. She also knew she would get into trouble when she got home, but she felt she had to help this small child who lay before her. Surreal wasn't sure what to do, so she did the first thing that came to mind. She entered the child's dream. Surreal saw the boy running, and when she turned to see what he was running from, she laid eyes on the biggest, ugliest brown spider she had ever seen. Surreal began to get scared. She was about to leave the dream when that huge spider caught that boy. Surreal ran to help the frightened child. She stood in front of that spider and told it to go away. The spider reared its fangs at her. Surreal knew that bug had no intention on leaving that boy alone. At that moment, Surreal knew what she had to do. Her heart center opened and poured forth a brilliant emerald green light. She directed her light beam right in the center of that huge brown spider. Right in front of the child, Surreal turned that ugly brown spider into a beautiful green butterfly. Knowing that the child would be safe now, Surreal went home. When she awoke the next morning, Mr. Sandman was in the kitchen with her parents. Surreal prepared herself for the scolding that was sure to come. But to her great surprise, Mr. Sandman was holding a pair of huge emerald green wings. Mr. Sandman told her that because of her bravery against the nightmare, she was to become the first of the Dream Protector Angels. Now, all of the students of Mr. Sandman can go to the Great Hall and read stories about Surreal, the angel of good dreams. By this time, the little boy had told all of his friends about the wonderful angel who had saved him, and the dream protector angels were being called upon whenever and wherever a child was having a nightmare. So if you ever have a nightmare, fear not. Surreal will be there to help you too. The end. Look for the ebook on Kindle and on Lulu.com. It's not in print yet, but it will be soon. Thank you, my friends, and good dreaming.